People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. People deluded, I'm back again. We got a gal in the building. We saying, my boy, you good?
I'm chilling, bro. Just came back from work. I got a couple more hours before I finish fasting. It's a good day.
Good day, great day, and it's always a great day to chop it up with Arsenal, man. I've got to ask you though, man. I hate to go over it, but I'm sure you've seen the tier list. Shout out to Faz and Saeed, man. It's been making a lot of headwinds. I was surprised not to see you on the list in any way, man.
You know what? It is what it is, man. Sometimes you get recognized, sometimes you don't. At the end of the day, it just means you got to work harder.
And as you said there, yeah, I always say if people want their flowers, as grim as this sounds, if people want their flowers, wait till you're dead. When you die, everyone will give you your flowers. They'll be by your graveside with plenty of flowers. Until then, just keep working. And last thing I'll say on the tier list, yeah, is that everybody's got their qualities, whether you're in the GOATs, whether you're in whatever section, it is what it is, man. What have you been up to this international break where Arsenal's concerned? What sort of content you been making, man?
So all sorts of stuff. So I've been looking at branching and just doing some content on other clubs also. So, but I'm getting like a couple of guys from other clubs to join me, like Hussam or others like that. I've also done a little bit of the Arsenal agenda topics. So like I'll bring on Northside to tell me his take, and he's kind of pessimistic.
That was a good show, man. Shout out Northside. I watched that one between you two still.
And then I brought on Femi, who's a little bit more optimistic, to see what he thinks. And it's like, you find you agree with both, but you disagree with both at the same time, even though everyone's different. Even though people would say me and Femi are more similar, I disagree with a lot of things he said also. So it's very interesting to have conversations with different types of people just to see what they have to say and what they have to bring to the table. Transfer shows as always. And then, yeah, I did do an England / combined 11 also. And I do
combined 11s, man. They got them things there have got you going viral sometimes, man. What's this one?
Bro, this one is not as crazy. It's one of those ones where it's like team of the season so far, but you can't put more than 2 Liverpool players, 2 Arsenal players, 2 of any team, because we don't want a whole team of just Liverpool, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest. You know what I mean?
What was yours?
What I did was the 2 Arsenal players I selected were one of the defenders. It was Gabriel and Raya. And then Liverpool obviously got Van Dijk, Salah. Nottingham Forest actually got 2 players in. They got the right back and the midfielder Gibbs White. The left back was, who was the left back? Anthony Robertson, 10 assists this season. The other two midfielders are actually Bruno Fernandes as the 10, which some people don't like.
No Morgan Rogers.
And then no Morgan Rogers. We actually put the last spot went to Caicedo.
No Telemans either. Villa not getting no love.
And then the front three is Isak. What do you call it? Isak, Salah, and who's on the left? Cunha.
No love for the Bournemouth players either. But that's the thing, man. To whittle it down to 11 players, someone's always going to miss out, man. You can make a couple of 11s, man. That's interesting. You mentioned something about Arsenal agenda, like on one of your shows. What was that?
Basically, the Arsenal agenda around Arteta and just around the team. So I'll bring on.
Talk to us, man. This is a good talking point. Talk to me, man.
Okay, so you got the positive people who think the Arteta agenda stinks. You got the negative people who think that there's no agenda and that he deserves the criticism and should be sacked in the case that we don't win anything this season. Then you have the people in the middle who are saying, you know what, I understand what happened this season, give him more time, or the people who are closer to the other side who are like, he has the rest of the season to prove me wrong if he can do something or not. So there's 4 types of fans, I would say. The hard Arteta ends, the middle, where there's like they can be swayed either way, and then there's the people who are continuously just out on him, and that's where I'm trying to find people of all sorts. So I would actually put you closer to Arteta out than Arteta in, but you understand that he can change your mind.
I'm not sure.
I'm saying
quite
you're in the middle.
essentialist.
I'm saying you're in the middle, but I'm saying you're leaning more Arteta out if things don't go right this season, let alone
Yeah.
season.
It's not even that this season because the man's staying. Like, I don't want to go through the same rhetoric I went through last season. Like, of a thing where you've got next season to deliver, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I do think people like yourself lean towards more Mikel Arteta in, and I think you lot cut a lot of excuses without fairness. And I'm not saying you, but I do think there's a lot of fans who you can gas up Arteta, you can say we're great, but nothing is ever his fault. Or let's get away from necessarily just Arteta's fault. Never, the club, there's always a reason. Injuries are one thing, but we've known about depth. We've known about not beating the small teams. It's like you can't gas up the manager and gas up our team and then cut every excuse under the sun. Like one thing we've seen this season, when City fall off, people said Arsenal were there to pounce. We haven't pounced. And for me, it's a third year of explaining. And then, which I asked you, at what point do you consider something different then? Because I do think a lot of people on your kind of side, not necessarily, I'm not saying you're saying this to me or you're necessarily saying this. Any caveat or any question mark about Mikel Arteta, you're negative, you're not this. I support Arsenal, I don't support.
You know what
I'm not
happened?
referring to you as that though.
What happened was at the start of last season, I said, this is the last year, this is the last year. And now my word won't mean nothing if I say it again, that next year is the last year. So I'm just going to say, I need to see certain criteria. One, I need to see the attack be addressed from the club perspective. Two, whatever we bring in, we can't have the same excuses going into next season. We can't be saying we don't have cover for Saka. We don't have cover for Odegaard. We can't be saying we were short in this area, short in that area, and this is why we're not winning. Because we've seen Liverpool this season have similar deficiencies in key areas and still be able to get over the line. So we should be able to get over the line as long as our players can perform at a high level for majority of the season. The manager doesn't have many excuses because he now has, I would say, 5 out of the best 11 players in the Premier League.
Saka, Saliba,
Gabriel
Magalhaes,
Raya,
Timber.
Declan Rice has been up there too.
Shit, Rice as well. Fair.
We have almost an 11 of quality players where everybody in the league would say they would take one of those players. So why is it we're not winning? I don't think it's down to Arteta. I have put it down to the
None of it's down to Arteta.
No, I haven't put it all on Arteta. How about that?
So what would you say? Let's break that down then. Like, what is down to Arteta specifically?
What is down to Arteta? Not trusting Ethan and Miles Lewis-Skelly earlier. Because when the injuries first hit for Martin Odegaard, he had a solution in Ethan, but he didn't want to do that first. He trusted the old guard. He trusted the old guard to his detriment, and they ended up costing him. Raheem Sterling, Trossard did okay for a couple games, but I think we've seen the moment that he started playing Ethan in that position in the 10 or even on the right, he produced at a high level. And now he's almost like if anything happens to Saka, Ethan can come in and fill in for a decent amount of game time. As for what else Arteta could have done better, I think games could sometimes get away from him. And it's no fault of him being like incapable of managing. It's just sometimes you need other people in the locker room or another manager to be like, you know what, we're getting it wrong. We need to change it up. But Arteta sometimes is persistent with something too late and doesn't change the game until late. And at that point, it's too late in the game for us to try to chase it or to catch up or even get to what we need to do. So sometimes you need to get away from your plans if it's not working 30, 40 minutes into a game and change it up. How many times did we hear we're the better team, but we drop points? How many times did we hear we should have scored? We did everything we needed to do. We won the field tilt. We got better XG, but we just couldn't get the goal. Sometimes it's not just down to the personnel. The manager needs to change the game. And I don't think Arteta does that enough sometimes. Early in the season, there's a lot of games where we drop points due down to refereeing decisions and injuries. But later in the season, there was a lot of games where Arteta knew what he had to his disposal going into the game and we didn't get the job done. Everton game, for example. Everton.
Aston Villa. There's several games, even the 2 Brighton games, which are marred by refereeing decisions. Either half they could have been killed, but gone.
And I do criticize Arteta about his substitutions and changes in the lineup. Sometimes I feel like he changes the lineup for no reason, and sometimes I feel like he throws in a player who costs us.
Some would say he doesn't change enough, to be fair. So he can't always win.
For example, Thomas Partey at right back. We have not won a game with Thomas Partey. We've won 1 game with Thomas Partey at right back out of 6. Stop doing it. It doesn't work. He cost us defensively against Aston Villa, for example, 2 goals. He was in the defensive half.
You can't just blame Partey alone for that, but I hear it.
There's other games. Fulham at home last year. Why do we consistently persist with Thomas Partey at right back?
You can't just blame. Are you talking about what one are you talking about last season? Ramsdale.
I'm talking about Arteta persisting with something that doesn't necessarily work.
So then is it fair to say, like, these are fair for some that are more on the Mikel Arteta routes, like the ones that could provide balance and can see all the good things he's done, come back from 8th and stuff. When you look at us not scoring goals, which has kind of been the case regardless of the statistics, that comes down to personnel. Kai Havertz has been up front. You spent a lot of money on midfield. You've spent money on Declan Rice. When you look at these micro things, like, as I said, on the large part, Arteta is doing his thing. But when you look at the micro, like you said, with maybe trusting and not trusting in certain incidences, with certain tweaks, and we talk a lot about fine margins, is it not fair if a fan for the last 2 years in particular has not seen a change in Mikel Arteta for all the good he's done to consider if you are the man to get over the line? Because if you do caveat that, people say you're negative.
Bro, I understand why people say Arteta might not be the guy to get us over the line, because he hasn't done it. People need to see things to believe it, I guess. But I am bought into Arteta's vision, and I think that the things that's keeping me from saying he needs to go is 2 things. One, the circumstances that we face this season. I think Arteta has also done a lot of problem solving, and in that problem solving has led to him making mistakes. For example, Thomas Partey right back, or trusting Raheem Sterling for too long, or even
he weren't just doing that. This is the Partey right back thing this year, though.
I know, or even signing Raheem Sterling in the first place. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes he makes mistakes, and he needs to learn from that. The other thing is, we need to go and address the attacking third. We've gone too long with not addressing the attacking third. We've gone way too long with not signing an attacking player, and we need to do that this upcoming summer. If we don't sign 2 attacking players, and those players come in and Arteta doesn't get this team rolling, we're going to have a problem.
Do you see enough from are you of the belief that, I'm exaggerating a bit, but you slap Nico Williams left back, definitely not left back. Don't give Arteta any ideas. You slap Nico Williams left wing and Isak up front, or whatever striker and winger, and all our problems are solved in the final third?
If we sign Isak, or if we sign and Nico Williams, those 2 specifically, it's game changing. Now, I don't even know if we're going to get the 2 of them. I think we're more likely going to get like a Sesko or Gyokeres and Nico Williams. That's what I think is going to happen. And if that does happen, really and truly, there's still a little bit of unknown with Sesko. I think Nico Williams should be able to work in the system, because I do view him similar to Martinelli, but just maybe he can be a little bit more clinical. Maybe he can improve. He's an improvement on Martinelli's passing. That is what I'm looking at, because there has been situations where Martinelli has been he's left us short in a game.
His decision making is a lot better than Martinelli's. Not that should be a remit for us to sign you, where there's a bag of players that could
look at Liverpool away. The last 2 times we were Liverpool away, the game landed at Martinelli's feet. It was up to Martinelli to make the final pass to get us the win on 2 separate games, and couldn't do it. Certain times he does leave you frustrated. So it was good to have another option who has scope to grow and be a much better player, hopefully, if he continues to improve at that level. But my main point, Deluded, to bring it back, Arsenal signed 2 attacking quality players, and the team stays relatively as normal. I think that then gives us a stronger bench, because it pushes the Havertz and the Martinellis to the bench, and that then gives us more squad depth. That then allows us to compete better in all competition, and that then allows the fans to finally get what they want which is a team that can compete on all fronts and challenge for the league at the same time. And I don't think we've, as much as we have competed for the last couple of years, we've had to bin off the FA Cup and the League Cup in order for us to be as competitive as we have been in the league. And I think with better squad depth, a better attack, we can then not only challenge in the Champions League, in the league, but then we can also try to pick up a domestic trophy on the side.
So do you think it's as white and black as better attackers, we start scoring more goals?
It's white as black as better attackers, we finally start to see a better return from our attack. It's not just management. There has been situations where we've left ourselves with no options coming off the bench. There's been games where there's 4 or 5 defenders and no real attacking options off the bench. There's been games where Kai Havertz has 20 shots. He looks over to the bench and says, there's nothing I can do. When Jesus got fit, we've seen Arsenal scoring more goals. It's not a coincidence. When you have Saka, Jesus, Havertz, you have a lot more options plus rotation that can come in, fresh legs. You see better performances. And people talk about our players being tired, overworked, Arteta running them to the ground. What options does he have? The club didn't sign enough attacking players over the last 5 years since he's been here.
But to be fair, nobody leaves the club or comes into this club without Arteta say so to a slight degree.
I know, but
everybody's in that squad because the gaffer wants him. It's like, I'm not saying you're saying this, but I think everybody needs to understand that everybody is to blame in the same way everyone's to praise. There's definitely been times maybe Arteta has been suggested players, let players go when he shouldn't have. And there's obviously been times where he's asked for certain things and he's been let down by X, Y, Z. Because that's just what I feel. But go on.
Bro, if your mom sends you or somebody in your family sends you to go get groceries and they want to make lasagna and you leave them short of cheese, what are they going to do? They're going to struggle to make the meal that they want to make. And I do think Arteta has been...
You've let them down. You've not spent your budget in the shop right.
Yeah.
You've gone for expensive stuff.
Maybe that is another way
how
to
far
put
does that go if we spent, what, 105? And I'm not criticizing the players, but just to paint a picture, because I do think we get into the trap of acting like Arteta is a damsel in distress. 105 million on Declan Rice, 30 on Mikel Moreno, 65 million on Kai Havertz. I think Odegaard's been all right, and I think Partey, but you're also touching around 70. There has been money spent. There has been a lot spent. It's not making sense. And I'm sorry to cut you, yeah, but you mentioned XG, right? And I specifically asked you about attackers for a specific reason, because I agree with you on one hand in that you sign, let's not even get into the names of the Isaks and all these guys, but you get a striker that we would like in theory, this theoretical striker, and you get a better winger. Naturally, they're going to put the ball in the back of the net. But you also mentioned XG. And I think there's a lot of, I don't know how he does it. I'm not a manager. But we have an issue for the last 2 years of breaking down low blocks. If you slap Isak or Nico Williams or any denomination of any player we're linked with, just at the Emirates alone, we have seen the third least XG created. Now, obviously, this could be screwed a bit with...
I've been quick.
At the current climate that we've been in, yeah, with Marino up front, but this is for the whole season. So it's not as white and black as we get better attackers and we're still going to start creating. Of course, we'll score more, but there's a lot Arteta's clearly got to do on the tactical front. No, go on, my boy.
Who's the best player at the club at breaking down low blocks?
That's cool, but for the last 2 years, we have known about this. Like, what happens when that player cannot have a good game? This is almost a theoretical kind of talk of everything needs to go right across a season or across a 38-game period or in a 90-minute game. Yes, we're missing Saka, we're missing Odegaard, but if one or two players are the only way you can break down a low block, you're in issues. It's very different, but we had the same thing under Wenger.
And Jesus is crucial to helping break down low blocks.
But he's not even a key player and hasn't been for the vast majority of last season either. So how far does that go? My point is actually, my only thing I'm trying to ask is how far does it go that you get simply a better striker and a better left winger and we're that much better in the attacking front, where clearly the underlying data, when people look at field tilts and metrics and all this, even when they look at the fact that we've dominated games and had shots and not converted, is there something more than just recruitment? Recruitment's a big help. It's undoubtedly a big help. But there's something Arteta is going to have to find. You've seen it yourself. 9 times out of 10, deep block, low block, you have a chance to get points of us because we can't break it down. Is it too far-fetched to assume if you get Isak and you get Nico Williams, they might find themselves in the same situations and me and you having those same common conversations?
Nico Williams has something else in his locker that both I don't think Trossard or Martinelli do.
You're not looking at the deeper picture, respectfully, my boy.
What do you mean?
You're not, because you're looking at specifics. Like throughout a 38-game period, me and you will be here all day. We've seen Everton low block. We've seen Chelsea try that. Obviously, Manchester United did that. Every team we play against is a low block. So if we're gonna keep talking about that, what if Jesus against one team that's a low block, Jesus is suspended, Saka isn't there, Nico Williams isn't at it. It's 10 other players on the pitch. And this is something we've seen for the last 2 years. How feasible is it that one player or a little conglomerate of players is the difference between breaking down the low block? Because there's teams that don't struggle to break down low blocks, that don't have this level of player.
Okay.
I'm asking. I ain't trying to catch on. I'm just asking because I think it's naive. I think two big strikers or two upgrades in attack help us, but there's something Arteta is going to have to arrest to break down low blocks.
I think the overall quality of the squad improving with those two signings. We're now looking at
that's not in question. 100%. I'm just trying to get you to see it another way.
This is why I'm speaking about it, because I currently trust Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, on occasion Martinelli and Trossard, and nobody else.
I think you're being kind. Saka, to a degree, Havertz and Wanyeri in the attacking third. Everyone else, it depends what day they're having.
Okay, so say we bring two more players in. You now have two more players you could hypothetically trust in these kind of key areas. Also, you then now have moved some of these players who formerly were starters to the bench, which being either Martinelli or Trossard. And I do think that overall improves not only your capability to bring people on versus tired legs to help you unlock those teams when it's a deadlock, but also it gives you more rotation and options, so these players are not as burnt out and they're not as tired. Because how many times have we spoken about, oh, Lacazette's tired, Aubameyang's tired, this guy's tired, that guy's tired, and that's partially.
I never heard that kind of talk around them two players. That's actually been something in the last 2-3 years, including this year, the whole tiredness debate, which is it does have legs. We've been in more games and stuff, but then you could caveat that I'm not trying to catch anybody out at this football club.
That also led to our players getting injured.
Exactly. And Arteta and this team have built the squad in the same way I praise you lot for building us out the dark days, getting us to a point. Everyone that's come in, everyone that's gone out, every positive I see in our system, every negative, you have to hold equal praise and criticism. We've built the squad. If after 3 years we're still talking about our left-hand side, Rice is going to play as an 8, but people still have that. You still haven't got a talismanic striker. Currently, a young player that's been exposed to first-team football is one of our best attackers. A lot of these problems are because of how Arteta has built the squad. In the same way we were praising him, it's how you built it. No, but think about last season when we're struggling to score goals, when we had Kai Havertz up front. Respectfully, we did not recruit someone.
100% the recruitment has been an issue. Hence why Edu
which is on everyone at this club.
Hence why Edu leaving and Barton coming in might be a massive benefit. But that's besides the point. I do think
we'll get on to Berta. Save your Berta thoughts, bro.
I think he built from the defense up, as we can see how the team has been built. Defense up. The midfield actually was purchased. The midfield has kind of been. He's still adding to the midfield. He's still now going to have to re-add to the midfield this summer. He's always been building from the defense up. We have a stable defense. We now have a stable middle. We just need to finish off the icing on the cake.
Oh, do we have a stable middle?
Honestly, with Odegaard and Rice, we do. We just now need to find solutions for Jorginho and Partey leaving.
I think it's more of a case of depth, and I think it's more of a wider question about Rice in the 8. You've been referring to striker, and I think everybody, regardless of where you sit on this Arteta fence, can see we need attackers. But that's the issue. Like, I must admit, collectively as a club, there should be a lot. Forget trophies, just in terms of the playing squad, there should be a lot more to show for it in these 3 years. It doesn't surprise me that we've been fighting for a title for 3 years. The gaffer's been here 5 years, give or take. Some players have actually been here as long as Arteta, or 4 years at max. It doesn't surprise me over in this time that whether it's because of tactics, injuries, other players breaking through, changing dynamics, some players that were first names on the team sheet are now not, and there's a bit of an evolution in that regard. So now and like you mentioned with the contracts, we find ourselves in a pivotal summer, man, which brings me to a next thing. How vital do you think Berta is? Because I can't remember what you said, but I watched one of your videos, I think with that T guy, big him up, and something along the lines of Berta's going to revolutionize Arsenal or something of that ilk. I could be wrong. But where do you feel on that? Do you feel you're jumping the gun a bit? I'm not saying you're wrong, but being devil's advocate, you feel you're jumping the gun?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think Berta's going to have a big impact this season. It's going to be 5 years down the line, we see the imprint of what he's going to be doing if he's here for that long. really and truly, a director of football does not implement what they do the first window they come in. It's what they do gradually as how the team shifts and how the team continues to improve over time. So as much as we would want to praise Berta, if we were to win the league next year, it's as much of Edu's it's much more of what Edu's done in his time at Arsenal than just what Berta's done. So the revolutionized Berta part is honestly it's a little bit tongue in cheek. It's more of a thumbnail than actually what I believe at this moment in time. It does give me hope having somebody experience who's won things coming in, and maybe that's also why people want Arteta gone, because they want the same level of experience coming in the managerial role.
I think that's fair. Do you not think it's fair though? Like for most balanced fans that can sit there and consider what Arteta has done well, sits there and sees the plaudits. You know, we've got a great top six record, developed some players, took us from eighth to where we are now, where we're in different conversations. And I wouldn't say Arteta's set the standard because this is Arsenal Football Club. This has been it's always been a club regardless of Mikel Arteta, but he's helped reset those standards. Would it not be fair that it's been a 5-year drought and we don't have something to show for it? Would it not be fair to ask questions for you? Because looking at this, how long it's been since all 20 Premier League clubs last won a major trophy. Newcastle fans are probably still drunk. It's been 11 days, 300 days for the Manchester clubs. It's only been a year for Liverpool. West Ham, fair enough, Conference League, but 2 years. Chelsea, 4 years. We definitely don't want to be like Chelsea. Leicester, pick them up, but there's that. We're there with 5 years and you can see the team at the bottom. We definitely don't want to be like them.
I think it's important that fans ask questions. But the fans that ask questions, that's your job. That's your job as fans, to ask the questions, to get the hard questions, to put the pressure in the right places. When rivals are coming at us talking shit about our players, that's my job. That's where I come in.
You lot need to stop reacting to rivals, man.
You know what I mean? There's fans for different things. There's fans that do certain things about trying to make sure that they get people, they look at the right things, they question the right things. And then there's other people who make sure that certain things are not being said that's wrong, incorrect, and maybe righting wrongs. I don't know. Maybe you view things differently from me, but I do view it as just as important as it is of asking questions of your own club. I do think it's also important that certain disingenuous takes are not thrown around about the club.
Oh, I agree. Right is right and wrong is wrong, man. For me, I don't think everything's negative. Like, I can have question marks about Arteta. I don't think he's like relegation zone manager. Clearly, we're second. There's things. For me, it's about building on this and taking advantage. I feel there's always a lot of talk about the past. There's always a talk about building for the future. Sorry. We never really, as a club, seized the present moments regardless. You know, again, even with Liverpool winning the title, we're 12, 13 points off for whatever reason. And we know there's valid reasons and we can sit and we can talk and they're not necessarily right or wrong, but they did happen. But also there's just the flat line of we didn't get over the line. Someone mentioned the comment.
You know when we got knocked out by Newcastle, it's safe to say at that point, we were probably the lowest point of the season. Right? After getting knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester United and then getting knocked out of the League Cup by Newcastle the way that we did, that was probably safe to say that was one of the lowest.
Major low point. Yeah, 100%. Right?
At that moment in time, if the players in the dressing room and the manager had the same mentality as the fans, they would have packed it up and said the rest of the season is pointless. I feel like a lot of the fan base they throw away everything and just say, you know what, season's over. Let's go on.
At that point, is the season not over? Being devil's advocate.
We still have the Champions League to focus on.
No, you still got to play. But I'm more talking for the fans that I don't know for the sack everyone, get everyone going, everybody's shit. I'm not speaking for them rhetorics. I'm speaking that evidently there's an issue when it comes to getting over the line, right? As you rightly put, went up to Newcastle or whatever. It was kind of like sink or swim. And we failed our audition. Let's be honest. The United game, there's no excuses. That is a flat point. I think I speak for the fans that consider that those two things were missed opportunities. And when it's sink or swim, we do not get over the line. Now, at that point, we're still somewhat fighting for the Prem. And at that point, it's a myth. The Champions League is the Champions League. But what about the fans that can consider, you know what, the Champions League is an impossible dream, but we'll go as far as we can go. Vex about the Premier League. And we did fail in the domestic cups. Like, what is wrong with saying, like, that's a low point? Like, I do think there's a lot of for the more positive, toxic fans, there's a lot of kumbaya for no reason. It's great to do the rallying call. Of course, the players are never going to give up. Do you remember when, if the players were ever going to give up, they would have gave up on this whole project? Remember when Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, all them, when we lost to Brentford, they all had a lot to say. If the players or the club listen to all the noise from the fans, there's been points they will believe that we're the best people in the world. There's also times when it wasn't glamorous to play for Arsenal and all of these kind of things. So don't you feel like it's a mixed bag? Like that's how I genuinely look at Arsenal. It's a mixed bag.
The reason why we don't win, if people want to say the reason why we don't win is because of positive fans that are deluded, it's also because of negative fans who throw away the towel.
Stick to the football. No, bro. When I'm asking you these questions, I'm talking about football. I'll be honest with you again. Pardon my language. I respect everybody's opinions, but some of these answers you're giving me, they're too relation to fans. Fuck the fans, bro. Like, I'm talking about you feel about the football club and what you're saying, and myself, and obviously everyone in the chat. The fans are irrelevant. Of course, it's our duty to support. I'm not one of them fans that, I can think of the numerous reasons to be negative, but regardless, always going to support the club, always going to hope for the best. Because I look at this thing like it's a family. We're going to war. It's as simple as that. Forget the fans, because I do think the positive, toxic thing, the negative ones, you lot just want to do the one-upmanship and stuff. If Arteta won the Premier League today, I feel a lot of them will sit there and say, oh my gosh, rather than be happy Arsenal won, it's, oh, Arteta won. And people just want to hit Arteta over the head with a stick at anything and blame him for everything, where the truth lies in the middle. We share the W's, we share the L's. Ultimately, we're dying by the high standards that this whole football club has set in the last 3 years, from the 2022-23 season to last season and now, which this year is either regression or stagnation. I don't feel there's anything wrong with saying that, but that's why I'm saying forget the fans, bro. Fans are not the reason for anything.
It's fair to say stagnation. I don't think it's regression. Maybe you want to say that attack regressed. I would agree with that.
Then it would be regression.
I'd agree with the attack, but overall, and the points. So yeah, you could say it's regression, you could say stagnation, whichever one you want to say. You're 100% right there, deluded. As for
that's
the club,
to seize the moment, bro.
As for the club, this season has been a failure. I've been disappointed with it as a fan, and I am. It's safe to say I think Arsenal fans are probably, outside of the relegation teams and like the Tottenhams and the Man Uniteds, I do think Arsenal fans probably leave the most disappointed. You showed Eddie Howe holding that trophy there. Now, don't get me wrong, we all would want to see our team lifting a trophy right now rather than where we are. At least that would leave us with something, and it would keep some belief in the team. But I don't think Arsenal prioritized the cup competitions over anything else. I think they prioritized the two majors. And really and truly, we have not been able to get over the line because we just haven't been good enough. Do
we have a right to do that?
What?
Do we have a right to do that?
As fans, we're going to always be, there's going to be always a level of entitlement that we deserve to win everything, even though we haven't done that.
Do we deserve to, is it like, should we be taking the cup seriously then?
Yes. The fans pay the most money. One of the most highest bills in the Premier League. The club is one of the highest earning clubs in the world. What is stopping them from being able to succeed the major honors? They have all the tools to their disposal. Sometimes, to me, it almost comes off as if they're not willing to get that extra mile to get everything needed to get us to win. And that comes
I wouldn't even say it's entitlement, like, really. I know what you're saying with, people would move the goalposts. If we won the League Cup or the FA Cup, it's only that. People do it with Liverpool. Liverpool win the league today, oh, the whole league's dead. But I don't think, and I can only speak for most normal fans, mainly on my channel, like, we want to win Prems, we want to win the champs, but we do feel like the league and FA Cups are somewhat missed opportunities, creating a winning mentality. Even if players were here when we won an FA Cup with Mikel Arteta, or they've won stuff away from their careers here, when we've been collectively together, we've not got over the line. And for me, more than anything, it's because we have a base, because as much as I'm annoyed about certain things, we are good. And it would just, imagine me and you play for a football team. Me and you, we're fighting. Arteta's our manager. We're coming up second. It's going to be upset. When you get a little day out at Wembley and we win, it's those kind of moments that is like, yeah, you know what, we want to be here again, let's go again. Or wonder what it feels like to win the Prem. It's that kind of thing that I'm looking at. I don't think, speaking for my fans on my platform, I actually don't think there's an entitlement. I just think they want a trophy. And I think there is something around our football club. Oh, gosh. Do you think around our manager right now, our football club and our players getting over the line and collectively? And big up yourself, Ash. I got a lot of time for you, but we need to get away from this rhetoric of Manchester City and what they've spent and not spent. Yes, there's a couple oil back clubs. Yes, we do not want to be United and Chelsea and look at United and Chelsea. But why would I want to look at them if I don't want to be like that? I want to do what Liverpool have done. I want to do what City's done. And whatever way we shape it, I feel that's a cop out. Chelsea can, sorry, them man can spend whatever. If we had a striker, if we had squad depth, if we had all those things that Egal said, yeah, we might have been able to claim something or win something. So that is irrelevant to other clubs. In the last 2-3 years, we haven't, and I've said this on Egal's platform, I said this to Egal himself as well. One thing that annoys me about our club is we've let ourselves down. Way before I look at how good these teams are and whatever, we've let ourselves down, which for me is the greatest negative and the greatest positive. Look at the summer. Look at January. Look at everything in between. It's an annoying one, and I think as much as fans want to blame, or everyone wants to either blame Arteta or blame no one but Arteta or blame the players, or it was Edu, it was this. We just need to look at collectively what's happened. It's a third year of a missed opportunity. No history's been made, man. It's jarring, bro.
Bro, sorry, my wife keeps calling me. She's not.
Don't worry, man. If you need to come off the video and deal with that, and come back, man.
I'm good. What I'm gonna say is, I think the fans are entitled, and we are. But I think all the top 6 teams are entitled in their own.
Strip that back. What do you specifically mean by entitlement?
I think Arsenal fans, a certain set of Arsenal fans, including myself sometimes, feel like we are good enough to win the league. But then there's another certain set of Arsenal fans that are demanding it as a bare minimum based on the quality that they deem this team to be. But at the same time, but then when it comes to the manager, they don't rate the manager and they don't rate certain players in the team, but they're still demanding league titles as a bare standard. So there's 2 sense of entitlements. The sense of entitlement that we overrate our player and now we think that we deserve these things that we have not yet earned. And then there's also the sense of entitlement that we believe we're just better than Newcastle and we deserve to win the League Cup. We deserve to go through.
It can't be better than Newcastle because we fucked up against them, innit? Like,
is that a sense of entitlement or is that a sense of like naivety, as you'd say? What would you say?
Nah, I think I can't speak for the 2 sections you're looking at. I can only speak for the section of Arsenal fans that rate our team, waffle about all the things we're good at, can see that Arteta is not perfect, but there's some good and there's some bad, and we can have deeper questions about him and think if we are that good, or not even if we are that good, believing we've got a chance. Simply put, just answering why we haven't got over the line. I'll be real. I've gone to Wembley and seen worse teams that play for Arsenal Football Club get over the line. I don't necessarily think it's entitlement. It's like Newcastle. Newcastle, obviously, they've won it. But once you get into that semi-final, I don't think Newcastle fans would be entitled for saying we ain't won a trophy in 70 years. You got Liverpool there. You got Arsenal there, even though Eddie Howe's had our number. I don't think they'd be. You could class them as entitled for thinking there's a real opportunity.
Have you heard Arsenal fans say that we deserve it or this should be ours?
You can't say we deserve it because across the whole football club, from the players, from the manager, from the recruitment staff, and how it all intertwines, we haven't maximized everything. We have not put our best foot forward, but we are wasting an opportunity. There's no way around it. These last 3 years are wasted opportunities.
Okay, let me make it simple.
And also, sorry to cut you, but let's remember, even though his language has changed, Mikel Arteta, William Saliba, Martin Odegaard, David Raya, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice all speak about wanting to get over the line, specific terms about all of that. So are they entitled? I feel we need to strip back how we're throwing these words around, man.
I like Arteta.
Sorry, Egal. Please, people, be respectful in the chat, man. Like, be respectful. Okay. It's not to us. It's not to us. It's an internal beef, but go on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Arteta himself says some things that kind of instills this level of entitlement. We will lose a game where we played well and be like, we deserve to win. We didn't win. That is a level.
I used to say that to you, and you used to tell me about the fine margins, bro. I used to tell me I'm kind of being negative. I used to tell you that.
Yeah. So that is a sense of entitlement, and I do think that is the sense of entitlement I'm speaking about. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, when people tell me we didn't win the league, I say to them immediately, well, we're 1 kick away from winning the league. We could have easily won the league. That if anyone deserves a league title over the last 3 years, and besides Man City and Liverpool, it's Arsenal. That in itself is a sense of entitlement.
And even with the trophy things, I think obviously you have to look at it. You look at it on two hands in it, because Manchester City, if they felt a sense of entitlement, they wouldn't have went from Manchester City that they used to be in my childhood to where they are now. You could argue where Newcastle are going to now. You could argue where Chelsea are going. We've never been a team that wins every season, but I don't think it's entitlement to see your team go close and not have a trophy in 5 years, or just hope you can get one or two over the line here and there. I don't think that's entitlement. Like, I think, I'm only speaking for most balanced fans. I'd be disappointed about the Premier League. But in these 3 years, if you picked up one Premier League and one league or FA Cup, I would still say, can we? Naturally, you've got to want to push on to greater heights. But I'd say, you know what, fair play. I don't think it's entitlement to look at these 3 years and say, why haven't we won the Prem? Or look at Mikel Arteta in the Cups since we've won the FA Cup and said, why haven't we got over the line? And these players, because we say Saliba, and I'm not getting at all the players, but we say Saliba's generational. We say Gabriel's quality. We say individually they're great. We waffle about Timber. We waffle about the young players. We waffle about Saka. We waffle about Rice. I don't think it's entitlement to think, oh, can we pick up a 1-2 trophy here and there?
When you say in the title, are Arsenal fans entitled? Are you talking? I'm not talking about the whole fan base. Just certain pockets are entitled in their own way. The standard. There's certain pockets of fans that are entitled. Maybe not everybody. I'm not painting everyone.
100%. 100%. You're right on that.
But there's the super positive that feel like we deserve to win the league the last couple of years, and Man City cheated us, and this year the referees cheated us, and they're not even talking about injuries, right? And Liverpool have the PGMOL in their pocket, so there's that side.
Come on, man, being disingenuous to Liverpool there.
I know, but I'm giving you there's actual fans that believe that. Fully believe that. Like,
that's entitlement.
That is what I'm talking about. And then there's the other side. I'm not saying Lee himself is entitled, but people like Lee Gunnar who believe that this manager is not good enough, but this team should be winning the league because for 20 years.
I don't think it's wrong for what Lee or any of them say in general to have that point. Same way I don't think what you're saying is wrong. Well, I think the truth is in the middle. That's why I like speaking to all of you lot.
But 30 years ago, we built the stadium, right?
Wait, cut the track for a sec.
20 years.
Cut the track. Igal, at any point, do you feel I've not got your point?
No, he gets my
point.
I
don't know what you're talking about. And sorry to cut you again, Igal, yeah, but when people say this should have been our title, that ranks of entitlement, I can't speak on that. If they're saying this should have been our title and that we should have had a great summer built on what we're building and definitely not be 12, 13 points off Liverpool, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. But as long as Igal can understand what I'm saying, carry on, man. Sorry to cut you. I just don't like that rhetoric.
Guys, he's a host.
Bro, there's no right or wrongs. Like, I'm just talking with my guy.
He's a host. He has to give a difference of opinion. He's not going to agree with everything I say.
Not even that. I'm just having a rate Igal. It says Arsenal fantig. We're bouncing ideas, pause off each other. You get it? Like, there's no right or wrong, bro. I'm just it's a reasoning session.
What are we doing here? Nobody's getting bullied. We're having a conversation.
But this is the entitlement and the confirmation bias. If people think you're right or I'm right, as far as they're concerned, Igal's chatting shit, DG's chatting shit. This is what we're not trying to do, bro. Yeah. What's going on? But go ahead, man.
All right. So first things, going back to the point, the title says, are Arsenal fans entitled? There's two pockets of Arsenal fans that I do think are entitled.
100%. There's fractions.
The overly negative Arsenal fans that think nothing can be right. Arteta has to be sacked, but at the same time demand the league title, demand the trophies, and say that this team should be winning the league or the Champions League or at least a domestic cup every year, simply because we're Arsenal Football Club and we knocked the stadium down to be as good as Bayern and Real Madrid. Unrealistic expectations that have a sense of entitlement in my eyes.
Should have the ambition to want to move into that. But if they're doing what you're saying, like demand, like we've got any God-given right to be there, then I'm with you.
And then there's the side that people believe that I'm on, which I actually am not on, as people would say.
That's the funny thing.
That take it to the level. Like sometimes I'll banter on Twitter, but don't take everything I say on Twitter for serious. Because sometimes I'm just
I tell you and Babs with that Twitter stuff, man. Chill out, man. You lot love it.
David Coote theory and that stuff. Like, have you heard the David Coote theory?
No, but we're about to learn now.
The David Coote theory is basically that David Coote getting exposed with the Liverpool hate. The PGMOL had to basically throw the league for Liverpool.
Does he believe it?
No. I think it's funny, and I think it's a
That's
coincidence.
entitlement and copium, if I'm honest with you.
I,
That,
I,
that ain't-
I think it's funny that they have 9 penalties. I think it's funny that Mo Salah's penalties, you take it away, Liverpool are tied on points with us. I think that's funny, but that doesn't mean they're going to lose those games.
And what about the games week? I hear all of that, yeah. But for me, I believe in looking at myself in life. Like, that's got nothing to do with why we didn't kill the game at Brighton in the Emirates in the first half. That's not got nothing to do with the game at Brighton away. That's got nothing to do with why we were 2 goals up against Aston Villa. That's got nothing to do with, and I'm not necessarily being harsh, but the late minute equalizers against Chelsea and Liverpool, that got nothing to do with it. Like, we are 12, 13 points off. Pardon me?
What about the referees being against Arsenal?
Bro, there's clearly, bro, go back to George Graham days. There's clear bias and agendas. I wish we lived in a world that was right. But I've been an Arsenal fan a long time. This ain't something new. We saw it during the Invincible seasons. You've played football. You go into Sunday League expecting the ref to be crap. In half of these games where the referees have been dodgy, we have still had opportunities to kill the games. Now, if that is a tonic, then fair enough. Maybe if we had the additions we needed, if we had all the things we've been speaking about for 46 minutes, then I might entertain the rest. Control the controllables. Like, for whatever reason, Arsenal is done dirty. Can I sit here? Are we going to say referees are the reasons for 3 years we ain't won a league? Are the refs the reasons for the league and FA Cups?
But I'm going to say this season,
Clearly there's a bias.
This season has shown me 2 things. One, Liverpool media.
Gabriel scored from a non-corner.
Oh, they're talking about the Spurs game. They're like, that was never a corner in the first place. We shouldn't have been given a corner. We should have drew that game versus Spurs. Spurs fans are going to hold on to that for the end of their life. Yeah, it wasn't a corner. But guess what? Non-corners are given all the time. That's not us cheating. That's the referee being an idiot. What I'm thinking about as cheating or mistakes that are on a grander scale than just giving away a random corner is some of the stuff that's been going on. Like earlier in the season, we had 2 players sent off, and they're no longer even considering that a sending off. I've not seen a single player sent off since for a second yellow.
I agree with you on that, but this is why I knew what we're coming into. We've been knowing this. I said it then with Declan Rice. I don't think I'll ever forget. Out of all the games I've seen in football, let alone Arsenal, yeah, I will never forget Brighton at home, because I was at the game. And I genuinely thought the Brighton, because let's say the game's here, right? I'm in the far corner, and it's happening on the right-hand side. I genuinely thought the Brighton lad was sent off. Now, I think it's a harsh 2 yellow cards. I said it then, but I've also said, you know what? If rules are rules, rules are rules. At the same time, though, let me finish. Like what you said there, if he's going to be sent off for them 2 yellows, I need to see second yellows and red cards every week. This is why I'm so big on let's control the controllables, bro. Like, we know we're being done dirty. The refs are never gonna like us for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's right, but this is the climate we're at. Look at Lewis Kelly against Wolves. Fortunately, we finally won for once, but we know the climate, bro. Like, years in, year out, how much are we gonna cry about that? And even if we take away referees, let's just assume referees are great. Do we win the Premier League? It's a no for me. So let's control the controllable. Let's maximize ourselves. Let's go to the level, because we're, unpopular opinion, we're a fucking good football team, you know. We've got a bloody good manager and a bloody good football team. With that being said, I need to hold you to them standards, because we are wasting what we have. We are genuinely wasting. And that's also another question, yeah, that I wanted to ask you before I forget. Where do you stand on Arsenal need a rebuild, or the rebuild in the summer? Like, do you think that word is thrown around? Do you think there needs to be another word rather than that? Like, where are you at with that?
It's a revamp. It's not a rebuild. What it is you're revamping the attack. We've never built the attack to rebuild it. The attack was never built in the first place. We've always needed to add to that team. The defense is not going nowhere. Saliba's not going nowhere. Gabriel's not going nowhere. Odegaard's not going nowhere. Saka's not going nowhere. Martinelli's not going nowhere. I don't think, at least. If we do sell Martinelli, fair play. But I think it's going to be a revamp. I don't think this word rebuild, people just like saying rebuild. This is not a team where you're ripping it down, starting all over. A rebuild would be starting all over, like we did when we brought in Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka. And yeah, the reason why I wanted to interrupt you is I wanted to know, did they explain to you what was going on in the stadium?
Bro, we was baffled until we saw. The only time there was some, what's the word, like light shed on that was literally when Declan Rice came off. Nobody explained that. Nobody like what can you've been to games? What could you explain? Every I remember XYZ because I was in the media part. They were like Declan Rice been sent off. Everyone was like, what? How? Even Rice was doing all of that. Every player was baffled. Like he just said it's a second yellow. We watched it several times, but at the specific moment when it happened, no. As I said, a lot of us believed my man got sent off because he was actually doing a lot in that game. I was so surprised. And what annoys me, even with that, like obviously Arsenal are judged differently. We've got to be a bit cute and clever, but I like the fact that we've gone from crying about dark arts to applying it ourselves. Maybe we need to be a bit cute and clever with how we apply that. But nah, bro. Do you know how baffling that was? That will stay with me for life. Genuinely, like when it happened, I thought my man was sent off. But we know what time it is. Going back to whatever year it was, Michael Oliver, who it's come out, earns 250k a year. It must be nice, innit? You remember the Martinelli thing? Like, we're ref differently, man. Like, and that's why I'm so good on having this siege mentality, man, because we're not the first and we're not going to be the last team that's treated differently with refs. And I'll be real. Clearly, I agree with the ref thing, yeah, but I do think there's an element of the victim of the victim mentality from our club. We need to make it happen. Several rep teams there's been an element of injustice, and I just it will make it a bit sweeter, man. Like I just want us to have something in history, whether that's the League Cup, the FA Cup. Clearly, I'd love the Premier League.
I'm not a victim. I'm documenting.
No, collectively, there's a lot of. I'm not speaking about you, bro. I'm saying collectively, there is a section. Remember, you mentioned sections. There's a section of Arsenal fan base that love the victim thing, and I understand it because it's copium. At the end of the day, it's very hard to look at things.
It gets engagement on Twitter. When you say something, I didn't do something somebody else did, you're always going to get people rallying behind you. You know, it's a siege mentality. You talk about siege mentality. Getting people to rally behind refereeing decisions is another way to get people to get motivated, to get engaged. This is probably the one thing that is very divisive amongst football fans. The moment Arsenal have an issue go against them, it's the rule. The moment Arsenal have something benefit them, it's they're cheats. They always cheat. Same old Arsenal always cheating. When but the hell have we had
cut the chat, Igalia? Do you know how that's my best? I love that chant at games when we're winning. When we're losing, yeah, you see that same old Arsenal always cheated. Do you know how much that rattles me? Oh my God. You're triggering a lot of PTSD with some of the things you're saying.
Yes,
you're all right though, man.
Bro, I've watched your watch along where you're saying, why are they singing this? What the hell did we do? They kicked our player. They're calling us cheaters. Like I've seen your watch along saying this.
Exactly. Bro, it's crazy.
One thing I don't watch. I'll tell you this, man. When it comes to Arsenal, there will forever be a gray cloud until we win the league again. That's just
100%. But why do you think I say to you? Yeah, I think as fans, obviously we need to stand up for our. There's two things I would say. Yeah, for me, definitely on my channel, I'm not going to tell you everything's positive unless I genuinely believe it. I'm not going to tell you everything's negative unless I genuinely believe it. But if I'm mad negative about my club, I'm still going to, and I'm not saying other people don't, I'm still going to support, be happy, cheer on the players, etc. to a degree, because at the end of the day, it is what it is kind of thing. I do think our fans have a right to stand up for our players. Like if someone says Saka is rubbish, clearly he's not. But at the same time, I do think remember the theme has ended up being sections, yeah? Some sections of our fan base, they want external validation from other fans. Fuck them. They don't like us. George Graham said it. They don't like us. Forget them. They didn't rate Gabriel Magalhaes. Well, go on for that. They said Saliba was something. What's going on? Saka's a left back. He's better than 90% of your right wingers. What's going on? They spoke on Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri. They can call it first. It was Mikel Arteta's copying Pep. Then he's the Tony Pulis. The goalposts are always going to move, bro. And I think our fans have to get away from that kind of thing, man. You get out of combined 11. You done another one.
That's not going to end until we win. Until we win, Chelsea fans are going to call us the Spurs in red. That's how disgusting it's gotten.
So then our fans entitled for what you just said there, yeah, and wanting us to get over the line to stop these things. Are they entitled?
No, I do think our fans are entitled, but not entitled because of these issues. I think at this point it's gotten to a point where rival fans are disingenuous.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck them.
and they treat us as if we're friggin' Spurs.
That's why I have to give you your credit, yeah, because one thing you do that I don't have the ability to do, like, you're on arguing with people that don't want to listen. That's why I like speaking with you, because me and you, We can disagree, we can agree, but we hear each other out. When you're on certain platforms, yeah, and you're actually saying a lot of right things, but the people you're speaking to, they don't want to hear it. So it's on deaf ears. I really admire that about you, because at this point in my life, even if they're wrong, it's all right. Because you're gonna think what you
You know
think.
the worst thing is though, when speaking to rivals, they have their opinion. They're not going to change it. They're going to let you finish your sentence just so they can continue to banter you. And you have to realize when they're bantering and when they're not. Because if you talking to somebody who's bantering, it doesn't matter how many days you speak to them, they're never going to get your point because they don't want to get your point.
They don't want to get it, yeah.
Yeah. But to the people who do actually want to understand where I'm coming from, that's the people I want to break through. Because guess what? There's going to be a large portion of people who just think I'm a deluded asshole that they've never watched
Join the club.
They've never watched any of my content. And there's probably people who know you as Deluded Gunner, but they watch you and they're like, "You're not deluded. Why is your name Deluded Gunner?"
I get that you're not so deluded. You are deluded, and I always reply to the comment. If I had £1, I would have bought Lionel Messi as well as Isak. Like, it is what it is, bro.
Hey, one thing I will tell you: you put me in a room with somebody who thinks they disagree with me on every topic about Arsenal, will come out of that room agreeing on more things than disagreeing.
And that's one thing I like. Yeah, like that's one thing I liked about. I think you did one with Lee recently, and I definitely watched the one with Northside. You lot have your little banter and your whatever, but then you calm down. I agree with that, Egal. I agree with that Northside. You might be right about that. And for me, yeah, especially in this content thing or fans, yeah, sometimes you have to separate the messenger from the message. Like you said, you kind of alluded to it earlier, how, you know, someone more left field, someone more right field, they might say something in general that you agree with. That's why I feel in life and football mirrors society. I'm quite essentialist. Like, I even feel, not to make this about politics, I feel politically, because I've done tests and biometrics around this, I'm quite a central person. So I think that's why there's some things that you're a bit of a madman with, and I don't agree with a lot of it, but I'm like, yeah, no, girl's got a point. There's some things that I think certain men are a bit too mad with, but I agree with it. And then you just take little bits and pieces. But as I always say, I don't tell you what to think. Think, bro, because it's harder to think. What I don't like is people running with any narrative because somebody else has said it, kind of thing. Obviously, because I got another live stream, I want to make sure I don't miss anything else out, bro. There's a couple things I really like. That's why I like doing streams with you. It's just a chilled ass chat, but I don't want to miss out anything. Smash the like button because we can't do it without you lot, man. Pardon me?
When's your next stream?
4:10. But because it's been such a good chat, because it's been such a good chat, I'm forgetting about, bro, Igal's a real G, man. Igal's one of the, maybe not only, that's an exaggeration, but one of the few that I've actually met in real life. But I got all the time in the world for Igal, man. He's been in the trenches, man. I got all the time in the world for Igal.
Crystal Palace game 2018.
Years ago is an exaggeration. Like this, I fuck with Igal. But because of that, I feel I haven't done my job. I've just been acting like I'm having a casual conversation with you, bro. So I don't want to miss out anything, yeah. Is Odegaard back now? Martin Odegaard provided 3 assists in Norway's 4-2 win over Israel in the World Cup qualifier last night, obviously a few days ago, making it 2 wins from 2 matches to start their qualifying campaign.
I'm not going to get political, but man was facing a bunch of IDF soldiers, bro. I don't rate it.
You know, I knew he was going to say that, you know. Oh, man. You see the Trent stuff. Does it scare you in relation to Saliba? Because Real Madrid have shown they'll wait, maybe get you on a free transfer.
No, man, I'm not worried right now. I think Saliba will be here for at least until 2027. We have an extension till 2028. We're good.
Let's pray, bro, because I don't want to lose him for free. I'll be livid. Gabriel Magalhaes, he probably signs a new deal, yeah. But I wanted to ask you, because there are rumors of bidding 100 million. Are you selling Magalhaes for 100 million? And do you think the club would? So your personal thought and what you think the club would do?
We turn it down. You don't want to rip up the pairing of Saliba and Gabriel. That's the core of the team. You get rid of them, you might as well sack Arteta. What's the point?
Careful, because someone will, so you know how bad my people are on the internet. They will, even though you didn't say clip Arteta, they'll clip up that part and just run with it. Zubimendi, man, there's a lot of rumors. Real Madrid are the front runners. They're hijacking. What does that mean, man? Are you filled with any optimism?
I heard Man City were hijacking Declan Rice. I heard Bayern were hijacking Declan Rice. Until it happens, let's see. But right now, I don't know what midfielders we're going to bring in. If we don't get Zubimendi,
Free Palestine a million times gone.
If we don't bring in Zubimendi, Who are we gonna get? Because Bruno G seems like a myth. I don't really know anybody else that we're really linked to.
They better have been scouting, my boy. They better have been. I couldn't tell you their names, but they better have been scouting because you knew Partey's gonna leave.
We might get the attack sorted, then have a midfield problem.
There can't be, man. They need to sort out. For me, left, as you said, yeah. And this is why I kind of want to move away from Nico Williams and Isak and Zubimendi and this one and that one. You need to get a left winger. You need to get a striker. You need to get a centre mid. That is the absolute priority. Then on top of that, for me, I think you need another left back. Lewis Skelly and Calafiori, cool, but I think you need another one. We all know what we need to do in goal. And we just need more numbers. I don't know who they're going to get, bro, but that's not our job. These men are paid to scout.
What's the striker we're going to get?
I wish I had an answer, man. I'm at the point, bro, honestly, get the striker first and we'll deal with it after. Like, in an imaginary world, we get Isak. I'm more than happy to get Isak. Then we ask the question: has he got an injury problem? Can he deliver? Can he match up to his price tag? Obviously, if you get Hugo and what's the other one, Sesko, are they good enough? I'm at that point now, bro. I just need a forward. I need a forward. I think we're gonna get Sesko. I don't know that because we're led to believe Sesko's our guy. Today it's linking us with Hugo Ekitike. So like, where do you stand on that as well? Where is it? Yeah, apparently we're targeting him as an alternative to Isak, who's rated at 150 million quid.
Bro, I don't know.
Mad thing, it?
I don't know him. He looks like Henri. He looks like
steady.
He looks like a young Henri in the red and white shirt when I seen it. But I'm not gonna get too gassed because I don't know the guy. I can't get too gassed. What I want is somebody who's going to come in, and we can't have a non-sure thing. Let me get Isak. If we can't get Isak because he's not affordable, get Gyokeres. If you can't get Gyokeres, get Sesko. Really and truly, I would rather get Gyokeres at this moment in time because he has the experience playing in the championship. He has the experience playing in the Champions League. I was just joking. I was tongue in cheek. Don't think.
Nah, you're joking, man. Like,
yeah. And then I would also link him up with Acuna or somebody else. I would get 3 attackers if we could, on a real.
You're dreaming, again. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But you're dreaming.
If they're saying we have money to spend, go and get Gyokeres 80 million. Go and split the Nico Williams money with the likes of friggin' Cunha and somebody else.
Yeah, but it's the quality versus quantity thing because obviously I don't know if we're going to get Isak, Gyokeres, these guys, but you could wonder, more so for Isak, if you commit a lot of your budget to Isak, you might not stretch.
Deluded.
But I'm with you though, man.
Isak's not happening, brother. I love the guy. He's my East African brother. He's Eritrean. We wanted him years ago. This is the situation. Arsenal Football Club is not going to spend 150 million on one player. I'm sorry. Newcastle don't need to spend. They have more money than us. They have more money than us. They don't need to sell. To all the Arsenal fans, it will be September 1st before this story dies. But we will not get Alexander Isak. Newcastle will not sell him. Even without Champions League football, they will not sell him.
Renewals first.
Newcastle have ambitions of winning the league. And if we think Saliba is not, if the same way I talk about Saliba not having to leave for 2 years, I view Newcastle the same thing. They will run him down until he either leaves on a free or they give him a new deal. And the only way he's going to probably sign a new deal is if he sees the ambition of competing in the Champions League and maybe potentially winning the league. And the Hugo guy.
He didn't say. Gal said we're not getting Isak, Aaron.
Yeah.
Sesko, can never win on YouTube.
Sesko or Hugo, whichever one you want to talk about. I'm not going to lie to you. I would rather get a sure thing, a banker, somebody.
I'd rather a sure thing, but I can't see it, Gal. So we might as well try and get the stars of tomorrow then, because then it's going to be no one, bro. Unfortunately. Rightly or wrongly, like if we're not going to get the household names, then we have to kind of outsmart the market kind of thing. Or maybe pull something up.
Would you rather a sure thing or would you rather an old?
Of course, I'd rather a sure thing, but sure things are Isak and this one and that one, and I don't see us getting them. So the next alternative is to scout a certain profile, of them players that rightly or wrongly potentially could be that in a year or two. Or we're getting nothing.
Would you take a rental cop in Lewandowski?
Wait, say that again?
Would you take a rental on Lewandowski for the end of his career?
I'm on all of that, but that's just not how our club works. I'm on them short-term kind of things.
Also,
We're not
well,
on that.
with Barta here, we could pull that off because he is the guy who brought Luis Suarez at the end of his realm to Atletico Madrid, won them the league. I'm saying if we're gonna buy these young up-and-coming players, add them with an old
That's
guard.
where ideally it would be good to have like a Lewandowski and a development kind of striker type of thing.
Or how about this? If we're gonna drop 120 on Isak, fuck the 120 on Isak. Get the Hugo guy and get Ollie Watkins. Now you have the sure thing plus the up and coming. Let's be honest. Havertz can move to the midfield. Jesus can go to the bin.
Assuming we're probably gonna have to wait a year to flog Jesus, if I'm honest with you, man. Like,
and I know
it's a madness, man. There's a lot of moving parts, man. We got to deal with a lot of renewals. We have to make a decision on the players that are going, apart from the ones on paper. We have to see if we have to pivot if you can't get, Zubimendi or Sesko gets hijacked. But I think based on what you're saying and what I'm saying and what I'm seeing in the comments, I don't want to say there's a lot of work to do, but there's a lot of work to do.
I need minimum 3, maximum 6.
I like that.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not I included the goalkeeper in the 6. I didn't include the goalkeeper in the 3 because the backup goalkeeper is going to happen no matter what. It's just,
I hope so. Even that, Garcia's getting hijacked. Apparently, this is why you need to. We're getting it, as you know yourself. We're getting into silly season, my boy.
Bro, we come into the summer transfer window. Chelsea dropped 70 on Nico Williams. What are we going to do?
And this is why I said we need to pivot, because I don't want to hear about powder dry and there was no players on the market. Yes, it will suck, pause, if you don't get your target. But then we've seen what happens when we don't get our targets and people get injured. Pivot.
Bro, if we get Cunha, Sesko, and Nico Williams, that could work also. It doesn't have to be Ollie Watkins. Just get me somebody who's Premier League proven with some of these other talents that you're bringing in, so we can at least have some safety, knowing that our bare minimum, we're improving. Long term, we could maybe go to the next level. But if we bring in all these guys from foreign leagues that have no experience in the Premier League, we could take a big backward step.
I think you're back on the money, man. Hey, Gal, I got to run, so let people know where they can find you, my boy. As always, this is a fantastic chat. I don't know why I feel happier about Arsenal, because nothing's changed, but it's always nice to wrap it with Arsenal fans, man.
Hey, there you go. You see, I'm trying to inspire everybody to be happy about Arsenal. Not everything has to be doom and gloom. And yeah, Eagle Talks Football. I'm not always doing live streams, so you guys can catch uploads also on Eagle Talks Football. And yeah, I'll be live tomorrow. And at some point, I'm going to be bringing Lee on. I need to get you on another show, but maybe next week.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Hey, you and Lee. This is what the community is about, mate. Shout out Lee. Shout out everyone in the Arsenal community.
Some people don't like speaking to negative people, positive people. I don't mind speaking to everybody.
I don't think anybody's necessarily positive or negative. It's just different points of view. Like, life would be boring if we went into an echo chamber, bro, and everyone who thought like you're talking with them, me the same. Like, bro, it'd be dead. It'd be dead, because you could learn something from someone.
Have a good show with Jess, man. Say what up to Jess.
Come on, my guy, man. I need to get you on that. But yeah, Gal, blessed for that. Shout me when you need me on your show. We go again, man. Peace.
Peace.